Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So I'm going to work on this little bracelet today. And this bracelet is using 6mm beads and 8/0 seed beads with a few 11/0s and some 4mm bicones. So for those of you who like a chunky bracelet, and here we'll take a look at them, this is for you. And if you don't like a chunky bracelet, if you're more of the delicate type, you can do the same exact bracelet in 4mm pearls, 11/0 seed beads, and some 15/0s, to embellish the top. We're going to work on this one today. I'll put everything in the description box below the video, as far as how many you need for the 4mm and the 6. So just a quick look. It's a really kind of an interesting, it looks interesting from the side. It's nice and chunky. It's very, to me, very summery. Here's one in jasper. I have actually repurposed these beads. I had a jasper bracelet and it broke that I just bought, years and years ago. So I repurposed the beads and I used them for this design. This is made with the gemstone strand we got from the dollar bead box in this last month's box. This one is made with the Druks and the Bicones from the last Eureka Crystal collection. And this one is just, my regular pearl and Bicones. And I love these AB2X Bicones, so pretty. All right, so I'm going to clear this off. We'll get a materials list going and we'll get started with this bracelet. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the bell wherever it is so that you get notified when I upload a video. Okay, I'll see you in a few. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So you'll need some 8/0 seed beads, some 11/0 seed beads, some 6mm beads. I'm using pearls here, but you can use Druks, round beads, gemstones, we did on this one. 4mm bicone. I've got a stop bead, size 10 beading needle. I'm using Wildfire, which I'm loving this gray color right now for, using lighter colors in the spring and summer. So this I'm really enjoying. The clasp, I'll actually show you this one first. This is a cool clasp. It's a magnetic fold over, so it folds over. That's what holds it. And then this, of course, the magnet holds this piece down. And I really love this clasp, and it was, a viewer had posted the clasp. So I ordered a bunch, and while some of them were really nice, some of them were really not nice. Like the magnets were out of several of them. The little crystal on the top was sort of, wasn't glued in properly. One of the hinges was broken on one of them. So all I can say is like the quality, I don't know how to, make sure that the quality is good on every one. You get 2 of these and then 2 of this clasp in a package, and they're very reasonable. These I find completely, useless. I can't figure out what to do with these. But I don't mind putting these aside and maybe figuring something out for them later, because I do like this clasp a lot for a chunky bracelet. It's just beware that the quality isn't the best. So you might have to, glue some magnets in or whatever. So that's that one. This one I ordered from Fire Mountain Gems too, this gold one and this silver one. So this one is to me, much better quality. It's a little bit smaller, but I just like it better. So I would recommend this one, and I'd say just, beware about this one. All right, so I'm going to clear this off. I'm going to get started. I will put all the sizes of beads for the smaller bracelet in the description box below the video. Don't forget to click the down arrow, the show more. Everything is there. I just have to say it again. I always have to say it. I'm sorry to be so repetitive. But, everything is down there. So anything you need, most questions are answered down there as well. I'll link this ring down there for those of you who want to see the ring. And I'll clear this off and we'll get started. See you in a minute. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about, 5 or 6 feet of thread. You'll have to add thread, so whatever's comfortable, really. Put on a stop bead and leave about a 12 to 14 inch tail. I'm going to use that tail to sew on my one end of my clasp. So if I put on my needle and drop down to my stop bead, 4 8/0s, a 6mm, an 8/0, a 6mm, an 8/0, and a 6mm. I'm going to sew those into a circle by sewing up through the first 4 8/0s, the 6mm, and the next 8/0. Just going to pull. This is what I have. I'm going to pick up 6 8/0s Exiting this 8/0, just going to sew through the one on the other side of that 6mm, through the 6mm, through that next 6mm, through the 4 8/0s, the next 4 8/0s. I'm just moving my piece around so it's comfortable for me to sew. Move my hand in a second. So through those 4, through this 6, and the next 5 of the 8/0s around that purl. So through the 6mm, that's 3 of my 8/0s, and I'm pulling it as I go along. 2 more. Like that. Pick up an 8/0, a 6mm, an 8/0, a 6mm, an 8/0, a 6mm, and an 8/0. Exiting this 8/0 seed bead, I'm going to sew through the one above it and the one I'm exiting. Just to make another unit. And I'm pulling as I go along. I'm going to sew through the next 8mm and, the next 8/0 and 6mm and the next 8/0. So sew through the next 8/0, 6mm, 8/0. Pull. Pick up 6 8/0s. Exiting here, sew through this 8/0 on the other side of that 6mm, this next 6mm and the 8/0 after it. Through the next 2 8/0s here. And working our way around again. Through the next 8/0, the 6mm, and the next 5 8/0s around that 6mm. So that's 3, 4, 5. I'll move my thumb in a second. That's where you want to come out. So this is our base. We'll do it one more time. 8/0, 6mm, 8/0, 6mm, 8/0, 6mm, and an 8/0. Exiting here, sew through the one right there underneath it, and through the one you're exiting, so these 2. A little pull. Don't worry about if it doesn't feel super tight. You just want to pull it. We'll be going through these beads quite a bit. So we're going to sew through the next 8/0, 6mm, 8/0. Pick up 6 of your 8/0s. Sew through this guy, so the 8/0 on the other side of that 6mm, the 6mm, and the next 8/0. Through these 2. Through the next 8/0, 6mm, and the next 5 8/0s after that 6mm. Turn it around to show you where we are. I'm pulling. So that's our base. So we're going to do this all the way down until we get to the end of the bracelet minus your clasp. So, and then we're going to, we'll do the top. We'll start embellishing. So very easy. This is your base row. So get that done and then come on back and we'll continue. We're back. So let's pretend I have a full bracelet going here and we'll put on one end of the clasp before we start the top of the bracelet. So I'm exiting this bead right here. So this is my one end of my clasp, and if you notice, it has a hole here and a hole here, and then it's indented here, there's space here, so you can go through and connect behind here and come out this hole. So I'm going to pick up an 8/0. I'm going to sew through this one, and I'm going to turn it over to the back right now. Like that. So here we go. So this is what it looks like. going to pick up 2 8/0s. I'm going to sew through the other hole. Like that. I'm going to pick up an 8/0. I'm going to sew through these 2 right here. So here's where I'm exiting. So the bead above where I'm exiting, and then the one I'm exiting. That's what it looks like. I'm going to sew back through this 8/0, the hole in the clasp, across these 2. Hold my thumb in a second, like that, down the hole. You might be able to fit actually 3 8/0s, or maybe an 11/0, 2 8/0s, and an 11/0. Just play with what fits in that area back there. So down that 8/0 past my, under the clasp. I'm going to pull, coming across these 2. When I turn it over, this is how it connects. Now you can go through again. In fact, probably go through again. I'm not going to do it, but it's a pretty heavy clasp, so maybe you want to go through again. So exiting here, I'm going to sew through these 3 and the 6mm. Okay, so I'm just going to let you get to that point, and then we'll continue. Okay, let's embellish a little bit. So I've got my 11/0s, and I'm going to use these 4mm bicones. So I'm exiting this 6mm right here. Going to pick up an 11/0, a bicone, and an 11/0. Exiting here, just going to sew up through this one and the one above it, the 8/0 above it. I'm going to take a shortcut through this purl, or any 6mm, down this 8/0 and the 6mm and the 8/0 underneath it. Across these 2. Down these 3 and the next 6mm. I'm going to pick up an 11/0, a bicone, and an 11/0. Going to sew up through the 6mm and the 8/0 on the other side. Across this 6mm, down the 8/0, 6mm 8/0, across these 2, and that's going to be our bicone embellishment. So we do it one more time. Exiting here, sew through these 3 8/0s and the 6mm. Pick up an 11/0, a bicone, and an 11/0. So up through this 6mm on the other side and the 8/0 above it. Take a shortcut through this 6mm, down this 8/0, 6mm 8/0, across these 2 8/0s, down these 3 and the 6mm. What you're going to do all the way down. Yeah, let's do the last one. We'll hold it like this. Okay. Pick up an 11/0, a bicone 11/0. Sew through this 6 and the 8/0 above it. Just make sure it pops over the 4 8/0s. And don't worry about this thread and the stop bead. We'll play with that later. So just make sure it sits like that. Come across the 6mm, down the 8/0, the 6mm, go across all 4 of these, and up and out that 6mm. This is just where I want you to get to, and then we'll continue. Okay, so just get that done all the way down and come on back. Okay, so we're back. This is where we are. I'm not going to put the clasp on yet because I don't want knots here. I want to finish the embellishment first. So I have you exiting this 6mm right here. So just don't worry about you can just hold your tail thread. Just make sure your 4 beads are kind of situated kind of like this. See how mine are sort of surrounding that bicone? Okay, so we're going to pick up 7 of our 11/0s. Exiting here, just come around and sew through the top of this pearl right here, or the 6mm, just the 6mm, like this. So when you do this, just watch as I do this. Let me just get my tail thread out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that all these beads go in front of that little bicone embellishment. So here, let me just do it and then I'll show you. So here I'm pulling. Do you see how I've made sure that they're sitting in front of this 11/0 bicone 11/0? Like that. So you've just come across and down this 6mm. I just need to move my thread down just a little bit. Okay, so pick up 3 11/0s. We're going to find bead number 4 of these 7. 1, 2, 3, here's 4. I'm going to go up bead number 4, like that. Just going to pull it and put my thumb on it. It'll all straighten out. Pick up 3 11/0s and sew down just this 6mm on the other side, and you can keep going down some of the 8/0s underneath it. And then I just want to pull these to make sure they're in place. So I'm kind of straightening everybody out and making sure that those beads surround that bicone and it looks pretty. So I'm come past my 6mm by a couple of beads. I'm going to come through this one and the 2 across like that. And I'm going to come down, sew down through the next 8/0 and the next 6mm. Just the 6. So that 8/0 above it and the 6. Like that. Going to pick up 7 11/0s. Exiting this 6mm, I'm going to sew through the top hole of this 6mm. Just the 6mm. Just want to make sure. Okay, I have 8 beads on there. Let me take one off. Make sure I have 7. Okay. So just the 6. And I want to make sure that, like I said, like before, that this 11/0, bicone 11/0 is on top, and these 7 beads I just put on are sort of like beneath it a bit. Pick up 3 11/0s. Find bead number 4 of the 7 you put on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sew through bead number 4. Pick up 3 11/0s. Sew through this pearl or 6mm, and a couple of beads underneath it. And again, make sure that those beads sort of go in front of the bicone so that it's wrapping around the bicone like that. So we've come through this 6mm, these two 8/0s, go through this one and across, like that, down this 8/0 and the next 6mm. You got it. What you're going to do all the way down until you have all your embellishment on, and then meet me at the end and we'll continue. All right, see, okay, I have one more embellishment to do, so I'll do that with you. So 7 of my 11/0s, exiting here, I'm going to sew through, going on the other side from the top down. Making sure that it sits nicely around the bicones. I'm going to pick up 3 11/0s, find bead number 4, 1, 2, 3 of the 7, so that's 4. Sew through it. Pick up 3 of your 11/0s, so down through this guy, so the 6mm, and whatever you can get through under it. I'm going to just take my pliers to get that through. Just my hands are a little slippery. You should have plenty of space in there. Just make sure you're kind of coming around, you know, in front, up beneath that 11/0 bicone 11/0. And what I'm doing is I've just kind of put my needle through and then I'm pulling so everybody sits nicely across this way. And then you just want to tie some knots, and I'm just running out of thread, so I'll try to get one in right here, so a half hitch. So just make a loop, catch the loop like that, sew through a few beads, and then do another one. I don't have space to do another one. You don't have enough thread to do another one. And so you're just going to put another half hitch knot in, and that's one, you know, you're done with almost, you know, all your embellishment, and then come on back after and we'll put the other end of the clasp on. Okay, let's get the other end of the clasp on. So I'm going to show you how to do it if you want to add a thread. So you need to be coming out of this bead right here. So see these two here? So you want to come out of this one. So if you have your tail thread and you're coming out of this one, you're going to need to move your thread around, just sew through all the beads like we've been doing, until you're coming out of this bead here. If you're adding a thread, you're just going to, you know, cut a length of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave enough of a tail to sew in. Sew through, sew back a few beads, and then so here I've sewn through, I think this pearl, no, I've sewn through, let's see, okay, I've sewn through this 8/0, this one, and then these 3 till I've come out here. And when I pull my thread, you see how the stop bead holds it there, and then I could just sew this tail in anytime I want. So let's just put this end on. So I'm going to get my clasp, an 8/0, going through. I'm going to turn it on the back in a second. So let's turn it over. Then I'm going to pick up, I'm going to try the 11/0, 2 8/0s, and an 11/0, just to fill up that back space a little bit. Sew through the next hole at that end. Pick up an 8/0, sew through these 2 center beads, and now I have my clasp on. So I'm going to do the same thing we did on the other end. I'm going to sew through everybody again. Down this one, across those 2, and then, you know, then you want to come down another bead, tie a half hitch knot right here. So you do that. I'm not going to bother doing that right now, but here, you're going to sew this thread in, But so there you go. You've got your other end on. So let's take a look at our bracelets. There's our mini. Here's this pretty, I think this is jasper. Guess this one. I have 3 or 4 others that are in the process. One with sort of rose pearls and another, let's see, I'll show you what I have. So I started this one and I did this with rose, sort of a rose colored pearl. Then I have this one with a sodalite gemstone. So you know, play with it, have fun with it. Very simple. For those of you who, you know, want to use the bigger beads, here you go. Very easy. You have a nice chunky bracelet. The smaller one is, I'll have that in the description box below the video, everything you need for it. Here's my favorite, the pearls and the crystals. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.